Hi, I'm Chris. Thanks for coming on my walk with me. I wanted to talk today about robots. And robots are something that we've really wanted for thousands of years. So somebody that will basically be a mechanical servant for you and just do the stuff you need it to do, all your chores, all your laundry, all that good stuff. But there was a big missing piece with robots, and I'll get to that in a minute. First though, to kind of understand why we're almost going to be living in the world of robots, I wanted to talk about how the iPhone came to be. So we haven't always had the possibility of having smartphones. They just now became possible because of the convergence of multiple kinds of technology. One of those things was batteries. So for the longest time, we didn't have rechargeable batteries that could actually last all day or last a reasonable amount of time for our phones. So like your phone would die super fast. Remember back in the day, the flip phones, I mean, those would last a while, but as soon as the screen started getting bigger, the batteries would die fast. So batteries were one thing that needed to happen for smartphones to exist. Another was computers that didn't require a lot of power. So the processors were able to actually run a little mini computer in your hand without sucking up too much power. So that was another thing that started to exist around 2006, 2007. And another thing, kind of an invisible thing, is the cell phone network. So we weren't able to really get cell phone data over the air until the network grew and improved and got to the point where it could support people getting emails, photo texts, and eventually browsing like videos and things like that on their phones. So that was what made the phone possible. And all that kind of came together in 2007 or so. And when that happened, it was like almost inevitable that somebody would make a smartphone. And Apple did famously with the iPhone. They unveiled it in January 2007. And of course the Android phones came along. All kinds of cool stuff happened because the right technology became available at the right time. And that's kind of what's happening right now for robots. The dream of having robots that has been around for, I looked it up, literally thousands of years we've wanted robots. That is now possible. So that's because of the convergence factor again, just like the iPhone. The robot has a few key things that are just now being real technology. One, like the phone, is a battery that can last all day, allow the robot to do useful stuff, get a lot of work done, and not weigh too much, and not take too long to charge. There were some old robot concepts from Boston Dynamics that actually ran on gasoline. Like in or I think around the time the iPhone came out, that's when they were running robots on gas. And they were loud. Of course, you couldn't really run them indoors because they would smell bad and because of the exhaust fumes. And of course, batteries are a much better option for robots. But that's one thing that's converging for bots. Another is sensors and actuators. So just like the phones have like accelerometers, GPS, gyros, and distance sensors and LiDAR and all that kind of stuff, and of course high quality cameras, that stuff didn't really exist in mass until the phone came along. So we have a better power source now for robots. We have a better source of sensors and electronic components that will really need to be commonplace and not super expensive as well. But the key thing, the main thing that makes it likely that robots will happen soon is the recent explosion in artificial intelligence. So for a robot to be useful, you can't really sit down and program everything it does in on a computer and then have it go do too much useful stuff. There's too much variability in real life. There's too many corner cases that you can't really program in when you're building a useful robot. So the recent explosion in artificial intelligence, where the AI has gotten better and better and better at doing real world stuff, is why we're going to start seeing actual robots. And they're not going to cost like $1 million. They're going to be like under 20K inevitably. So that's why, much like the iPhone in 07, all those different pieces had to come together to make it practical. That's why we're getting a robot now. And we'll see it first in things like construction and factory work, stuff that's dangerous or repetitive. That's where we will see robots used first. But eventually, I think people will have them themselves, because think about it. For 20K, that's a pretty medium car payment. Say maybe, I don't know, between $200 and $400 a month, depending on terms. You could probably get a robot to do more than $200 to $400 worth of work every month, even if it just worked part-time. Not to mention all the chores it could do for you. So I think it'll just be, I think there will be practically infinite demand for robots for at least a decade. And we'll probably see them really start to hit the scene, at least in commercial type work, probably in 2026 or 2027 or so. And around maybe 2029 or 2030, we'll start to see them show up in our homes, like something you would go to Best Buy, if it's still an outlet at that point, and buy. And there's some cool stuff going on with this right now. If you want to see the current state of the art of a general purpose robot, look no further than Tesla's Optimus bot. It has artificial intelligence built in that is based on the car's self-driving program that Tesla is doing. And so it can recognize objects in its environment and navigate around them and understand context and kind of know what it's supposed to be doing as far as work goes. So we've already got prototype stuff happening, and knowing Tesla, they move super fast. So I think we'll see this working on construction sites and in industrial sort of situations soon. That's my thought on robots. Go ahead and do some thought experiments of what life will be like if it costs $200, $300, $400 a month to have a robot that can pretty much work constantly. Maybe 10% of the time it's charging its batteries or going through maintenance, but the rest of the time, man, it's just working, doing whatever you need it to. What would you have your robot do? What do you think it'll change about society? It's pretty fascinating the more you think about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Love y'all. Let's be cyber Vikings and make 2030 awesome.